Alright, welcome back guys to Smooth Operator, the series where we try to take Carlos Sainz and beat Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton for basically taking his seat. Last time around we did pretty well, but we struggled a little bit towards the end of the race. We're going to try and improve on that this time around. So taking a look here at Sakir last time around, Bahrain, we had Carlos Sainz finish in 9th position, so not the best. Before that we managed to put him into P5, gaining 13 positions at Suzuka, which was a really good race. China we also got a P5, and then Melbourne P6 with a heavy rain race. So let's try and see if we can improve from Bahrain and head into Jeddah, where we're gonna go now, and see if we can get back inside that top 6, maybe even top 5. We'll have to see. Taking a look at the driver standings, Carlos Sainz has dropped back 2 positions from P5. Lando Norris and George Russell doing well in their previous races, so it means Sainz has dropped back to 7th, but we still have a nice gap to Liam Lawson and Andrea Kimi Antonelli. And in the constructors here, we have McLaren in the lead, with Ferrari not too far behind. Red Bull is in 3rd position. Mercedes in 4th, Williams, we're in 5th now, with obviously Carlos scoring all the points. Then comes Aston Martin, surprisingly Kick Sauber scoring points with Nico Hülkenberg, and then pointsless are Alpine Racing Bulls and Haas. Looking at the driver's standings, Max Verstappen in the lead actually so far, with Oscar Piastri not too far behind. Then Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris obviously had a good result, had a win last time around at Bahrain, but is off to a slow start this season, so let's see how he does. Also, in other big news, following the official appointment of Yuki Tsunoda, we've now moved him into Red Bull, so he swapped with Liam Lawson, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic, of course, to see as well throughout the season. How will Yuki do further? Now, obviously, we're a bit later than in real life with the swap, 2 rounds, but today was the Bahrain Grand Prix, and he did pretty well there, not finishing too far off of Max. But the Red Bull didn't look that great. But yeah, we'll see now how Tsunoda can do in our playthrough here, and see if he can drag Red Bull up a bit more than Lawson was currently doing. It'll sure be more of a test for Sainz whenever we get into battles with him than Lawson would have been. So yeah, let's see. And then we got some news from our new technical chief, Andrea De Sordo, that the research period is now open. But as I've said before, we're not going to focus on research at all this season. We're just focusing on bringing in new parts to try and to get Carlos Sainz to the top and fight for those wins. And we're looking here at the car development. Chassis 4 is coming in 9 days. Obviously, this will be another kind of step up from our current chassis, but we will build on top of that. So we will have a C5 chassis that will come in whenever we can. Jeddah obviously in 4 days, so we're not going to get it for Jeddah, but let's take a look at the calendar. So we have Jeddah now, and then you can see here is where the chassis will be complete. So we should be able to make one just before, I think, the Miami Grand Prix it will be. Yes. So yeah, let's see if everything goes well. We have to brave out Jeddah a little bit, and then we will see if we can improve towards those next rounds. And then if we take a look in May, after the Miami Grand Prix, we can see here suspension 3 and side pods 3 will also complete, so that should be a nice step up in performance. On top of that, we have front wing 4 that will be completed by the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, so Imola. The thing is, we probably won't be able to manufacture that front wing because it will be too expensive to emergency manufacture that part for the weekend. But yeah, without further ado, let's review the sponsor plans, and then we will head to the race. So looking here, engagements, we reached the target. We should get a nice little cash influx here, 2.5 million. So that's really gonna help us. We might even be able to afford a intense design with this extra money we're getting. No mandatory activity, so we won't get anything extra from that. So into the sponsor plan, let's take a look here how much we can make. We have a mandatory. All right, so here we go. We've put Alex Albon on a public speech for the on behalf of the sponsors on the race days. Then O'Sullivan will skip his training to become or to complete some sponsor appearances, which obviously we don't really care about because we're focusing on Sainz. And then the engineers will do a promotional tour. 2 of them will be unavailable as we send them out to do promotion. And that should see us nicely reach our goal of 2.55 million. On top of that, we have a mandatory agreement here. I don't know if we can actually see this in this menu. Oh yeah, here we go. I totally forgot about this. But the wind tunnel will be loaned out to sponsors for set periods and will be unavailable during this time. But as a nice return, we will get 4.7 million of a cash influx. So at the end of this sponsor deal 6-week plan, 1.5 months, we should get 7.25 million, which is going to be a very nice influx of cash. So let's confirm this. So before we head into the race here, we have a little look at how our car performance is stacking up. So currently we're looking 10th overall with car 1 and 9th with Carlos Sainz. We're looking kind of good. We're kind of average throughout all the stats. Low speed a bit better than the other parts. We also managed to now give Alex Albon some of the spare parts we have, as we'll be switching Carlos off to the next generation pretty quickly here. But that does mean we should be able to use Albon as a bit of a backup and utilize him in the strategy for Carlos as well. Maybe hold some cars up, and also most importantly get some sponsor targets done for a bigger cash influx for Carlos. So let's get into the weekend, and I will see you in qualifying. So Carlos coming up to the last corner here, and then it's going to be a big jump towards the last straight. Obviously Alex Albon now with some upgraded parts as well, so he should be able to do pretty okay. Let's see across the line at 26.3. What is Albon gonna put in? Okay, about half a second behind. Albon, keep in mind, doesn't have all the parts that Sainz has available to him, so not looking too bad. Let's see, let's fast forward a bit and see where we end up so far. Okay, so far guys, 5 minutes left on the clock here. It's looking okay. We are 8 tenths back from Hamilton, who's done a fast lap so far. Actually, Tsunoda, new at Red Bull, he has put in a lap faster than Verstappen so far. We're only in Q1, of course, so let's keep that in mind. That might change throughout the next qualifying sessions. But Sainz 8 tenths off, right behind Russell. Not looking too bad. My only thing I'm afraid of here is that maybe it's kind of a, well, a lot of people might have gotten blocked or whatever. What we do want to do is try and get Albon out of Q1, of course. So I'm going to fit some new tires, maybe use a used tire. We'll see how the tire wear is. And then we'll go out for another lap and try to improve. All right, here we go with Carlos Sainz. 30 seconds remaining on the clock, so he will be one of the last cars going out on their lap. Sainz, obviously, Albon also going for another lap. We are on used tires, though, because I do want to keep 2 soft tires for the main race. We'll see how that plays out, of course. Another yellow sector, but it doesn't really look like a lot of cars are improving. The only one that should be getting ahead of us is maybe Leclerc. There goes Piastri as well. Yeah, so we're definitely looking around that P10, it seems like. But don't forget, we are on used tires, so we're just trying to get in as ecologically as possible. Across the line, Sainz, no improvement. Here comes Albon now. Across the line, is it enough of an improvement? Oh! Right in front of his teammate on used tires. That is, wow, pretty surprising actually. Good lap by Albon. Nicely done. But that might mean we have to give Sainz a slipstream in the next qualifying sessions. We'll see. Ocon in P12 there. Lawson 14th. Hajar 15th. Tsunoda, again, just putting in a faster lap than Verstappen, so pretty impressive. Alright, coming up to start the last lap here in Q2. Sainz is in 12th, Albon in 14th. 14th, I think Albon has gotten blocked somewhere, so not too representative. It was on old tires as well. We got a new fresh set of tires on here. You know, you can see the wear 97% still left on those tires, so yeah. But improving all sectors so far. I just don't hope it's a small improvement. Some shuffling at the top. Piastri looking fast again. Verstappen now beating out Tsunoda. What is it gonna be for Sainz? It is a P6. P6 for Sainz. Albon. Let's see. No improvement again. Did he get blocked again? No. Just looking slow here in Q2. So, unfortunate for Albon. But at least we get Sainz through, the main man, through to Q3. Again, just sending Sainz out for a banker lap. Tires, these are slightly worn already, so we'll see what he can do with these. And we go towards the line. What is it gonna be? It is a 25.7, which seems kind of okay as a banker lap for sure. Now the faster cars are getting their sector times in, so we'll see here how that shapes up. Alright, again, coming out of the pit box here, last lap in Q3. We were on a fresh set of tires. We're out a bit late, so I hope I don't have to manually take control of Sainz here to get till the end of the lap. But currently P6 right behind Tsunoda. And Russell, Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc, all not too far ahead. I think we're only about 3 or 4 tenths off. Can't quite see that now because we're on... here we go. We're 3.5 tenths off, so all in all, not too bad. I think in the race, if that is the deficit we have, then in a DRS train, we should be able to hold on. All right, here comes Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard. One of the last cars across the line. Again, we're trying to get as much grip as possible on a fresh set of tires. And heading into turn 1 right now. Let's see. Oh, only a small improvement, fractional improvement. Not enough to beat Yuki Tsunoda or Russell, but we're not far off. Half a tenth off of Tsunoda. Norris goes pole at the death of the session. We are in front of Alonso and Antonelli, so that is something. Alright guys, after qualifying, the grid shapes up like this. Lando Norris in pole position, Charles Leclerc in P2, Lewis Hamilton P3, Max Verstappen 4th, Oscar Piastri 5th, George Russell in 6th. Yuki Tsunoda, the new debut for Red Bull, in 7th, right ahead of Carlos Sainz. We're only about a tenth behind Russell, half a tenth behind Tsunoda with Carlos Sainz in 8th. Fernando Alonso lines up behind Sainz with Andrea Kimi Antonelli next to him. Lance Stroll 11th, Esteban Ocon, then Liam Lawson 13th, Isaac Hadjar in 14th, Alex Albon a bit disappointing in 15th, Jack Doohan 16th, then Ollie Behrman, Nico Hülkenberg, Pierre Gasly, and Gabriel Bortoleto. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, waiting for the 5 red lights. Here we go. Carlos Sainz in P8. We're starting on the harder compounded tire. And let's see, Albon in 15th. We're also going to have to manage him a little bit to see if we can let him help out Carlos. So Carlos slots in nicely behind Tsunoda in P8. Nothing too bad. Albon up into 14th, so he's definitely making work of Hadjar in front of him. It was, and now Sainz in the slipstream of Tsunoda. The big thing here is to try and hold on to the cars in front so we can be in that DRS train and then try and get a little bit of an advantage with the tires. Obviously a big safety car chance here on this track. Seems like we're able to keep up fairly well so far. Albon as well, trying to get past some of these cars in front. We're gonna put him on standard deployment for now. We've underfueled the car quite a bit just to help with keeping up on the straights. So we're gonna use the fuel usage here to our advantage, the underfueled car, and try to keep up here for the first lap. We just need to hold on till that first DRS zone. We'll put Sainz here to the aggressive mode for a little bit. And here we go, right up onto the back of Yuki Tsunoda. And at the same time, we're going to try and manage our deployment as best as we can. So let's harvest some into turn 1. Go. Let's just push a little bit with Sainz because we don't want to lose the cars in front. We don't want to lose that top 6. There we go. We are going to have DRS on this straightaway with some deployment, hopefully. There we go. Pushing hard now. Let's just push the tires. A lot of people on softer compounds. Can we hold on? We should be within slipstream range now with Carlos. There we go. And now we're... Oh no! Oh, what a disaster. Ay, ay, ay. Sainz goes for an optimistic overtake. I should have put him off the aggressive mode, but... Oh, man. Yeah, someone crashed. You did, Carlos. Jesus Christ. Well, that is an early ending to the race for Sainz. It seems like we are gonna probably head into the next race then with this retirement from Sainz. Obviously, we'll try our best to manage Albon, but since the series is not about him, I'm gonna probably skip through this race and then we'll head on to the next one. More red flags now during this race. Nico Hülkenberg colliding with Yuki Tsunoda now, I think. I'm not sure if Tsunoda is gonna be out, but blocking the road. And another collision. Let's see how that plays out. Alright guys, bit of an update now. We are here with Lance Stroll. Another crash and a virtual safety car comes out again, but I think, yeah, Stroll as well out of this race. So 5 retirements. It's just one of those races. See here, yeah. Reaction from the from the Aston Martin pit crew. But yeah, it just looks to be one of those races. Oh no. Well, that's it, guys. That's it. We weren't even pushing with Alex Albon, but yeah. Just one of those weekends. What can I say? Well, guys, what a race. Very eventful, but Lando Norris ends up coming across the line in first. Charles Leclerc not far behind, only 4/10. He was right behind him throughout the race. So was Lewis Hamilton. Oscar Piastri up into 4th, George Russell in 5th, and then the big winner of this race, Pierre Gasly in 6th, gained 13 positions, similar to what Sainz did a couple of races back. Andrea Antonelli in 7th, Fernando Alonso in 8th, Liam Lawson 9th in the Racing Bull, finally finishing in front of both of the Red Bulls. Esteban Ocon in 10th, Oliver Bearman in 11th, and then look what happened here. I'll run you through the red flags in a second here, but Gabriel Bortoleto in 11th with a DNF, then Isaac Hadjar also a DNF, Jack Doohan, obviously you saw Alexander Albon, Lance Stroll out of the race, Nico Hülkenberg, both the Red Bulls, and then Carlos Sainz was one of the first DNFers together with Max Verstappen. But I'll show you here in the events tab with what transpired. So we can see here as we start the race, so immediately safety car and a time penalty for Sainz. This is where Sainz dropped out of the race. Then on lap 9, there was another red flag, taking out another 2 cars. Then on lap 31, there was another safety car. And before that, we actually had a virtual safety car. So lap 31, another safety car. Then we come to another red flag on lap 42. And then finally, we head into the final lap. But as you can see, just a crazy race overall. And yeah, we won't see many of those, I don't think. Heading into the driver's standings then, Oscar Piastri gains 1 position over Max Verstappen, who now DNF'd. Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. Then Lando Norris jumps up another spot from previous time, so he's up in 4th now. Charles Leclerc in 5th is tied on points. So George Russell in 6th. Then Carlos Sainz still in 7th position, but Kimi Antonelli and Liam Lawson getting ever closer. Pierre Gasly up 4 positions now, up into 10th. Fernando Alonso gaining some more points. Lance Stroll dropping down into 12th. Nico Hülkenberg down in 13th. Ocon in 14th. Doohan 15th. 16th will be Yuki Tsunoda. Oliver Behrman 17th. Gabriel Bortoleto 18th. And then Isaac Hadjar and Alex Albon still, even with his new parts, in 20th. Then in the constructors, we take another look. McLaren still in the lead with Ferrari only 10 points behind, both gaining a massive amount of points over Red Bull now with that double DNF from Red Bull. Mercedes gaining a nice 16 points to distance themselves from us, Williams, and then Aston Martin getting a little bit closer to us. Alpine up in 7th with their first point scoring opportunity. Racing Bulls up into 8th. Sauber go down 2 spots. It's only been Nico Hülkenberg for them, and then Haas gaining 1 single point so far. And obviously very disappointing. We're not going to get paid out by our sponsors, so yeah, we'll see if we can do better in the next race. But this was very unexpected, a double DNF. Alex Albon was actually looking good throughout the race. I think we could have gotten him inside the top 10 and picked up the sponsor objective, but yeah, unfortunately that is not gonna happen, and we're in a bit of trouble now for the next race when it comes to parts, I think. And so after the race here, guys, Alex Albon dropping in rating, which is not great. So yeah, he's taking a real hit. And yeah, you can see now the mentality not great on the drivers. We have Miami in 11 days. We will soon have a chassis done, but we have some cars to repair. And I will obviously do the next race in this episode, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it now because it is getting pretty late here now whilst I'm recording this. So I might do this tomorrow. But it will still be in the same episode. So whatever happens, you will see it here. So in between these 2 races, we have completed the chassis design. So we'll see if we can manufacture that one. Side pods manufacturing is now complete, so that's perfect. So let's go to chassis. Let's see, what is the comparison again? Yeah, it is a pretty big upgrade, I think. If we do rank on the grid. So yeah, quite an improvement for both the cars. So let's start manufacturing this one. We'll do 3 to start off, and we will rush them, I think. Let's rush 2. Let's rush 2. So rushing 2 of the new chassis to get at least 1 done for Miami, and then we will see what we can do on the development side of things. Okay guys, we've come to the upgrade parts here, and we finished that 4th chassis. We're now going to go into the 5th. We waited until the ATR period started, and we're going to dedicate all our wind tunnel time and COD time into this new chassis. And as you can see here, it's going to jump up our car in the rating quite a bit, and together with all those other new parts coming in, that should be a nice improvement to the car. But as you can see, we're going to go fully for the airflow, so increasing our cornering speed. I've played around with the sliders, you know, you can see it is kind of optimal to go for the airflow. We've taken a little bit of weight off. I don't want to fully go down with the weight because that's a known thing that the AI don't use that. So we're only taking a little bit of weight off, but this will be a very good chassis following up our fourth one. Try to put actually a lot of engineers on it because we're now coming to a stage where we're going to start focusing on some other parts as well. So we might as well get the part done a bit quicker to try and get that in try and get it on the car as soon as possible. All right, guys, here we are again. Like I said, I had to continue this episode due to the DNFs. I had to continue this episode the next day. But yeah, horrible race in general. Double DNF, and most importantly, Carlos Sainz DNFing as well with quite a severe crash, and then Alexander Albon later off. But we only had 11 finishers for that previous race. So yeah, that was just one of those races, I guess. But with that being said, obviously picking up no points or no money going into this. But one thing I do want to show you is we managed to fit that new chassis onto Carlos Sainz's car. So we have the C5 chassis already underway, but now the C4 chassis is on Carlos's car. And as you can see here, our DRS effectiveness now the first out of all the cars, and the rest of the stats have kind of stayed the same to before. So I'm hoping we can really qualify really well with the DRS boost here, and then maybe just hold on in some of the DRS trains that will most likely form. We had to tone back the upgrades a little bit on Alex Albon's car because we could have been able to deal with one crash in that last race, but two was just too many. So we had to put some previous spec parts back onto Alex's car to make sure we can produce enough to at least fit them on one car, which will be Sainz, obviously. But yeah, Albon was looking good for points even in that last race, but then yeah, just dropped out, and yeah, lots of DNFs. So that being said, we're gonna head into Miami. So taking a look at Miami now, we have a sprint race coming up, so double chance to score some points. The big thing here though is rain is predicted for the race on Sunday. So let's try to make the most of the sprint, and then we'll see what we can get out of the race on Sunday, as obviously the morale isn't too great in the camp. We might look, if we have some spare cash, to actually upgrade some of the buildings that provide morale for the drivers, so we can up that a little bit. And obviously a historic safety car chance of 50% here at Miami, so again, might be worth taking a gamble going on the harder compound for longer. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Let's head into qualifying. Alright, and sprint qualifying 1 here, and the setup so far is still a bit of a guessing game, but we can probably get it pretty close. The main thing is getting a couple good laps in here with Sainz, as time is gonna run out quickly. So we're gonna send him out and try to get through this session as quickly as possible. Alright, so first lap for Sainz was a bit of a banker. He got blocked in traffic in that first sector, so everything is riding on this second lap, but I think we got a pretty clear track ahead of us now, so let's see what Carlos can do. So Sainz coming through the last corner here, heading up to the line, improving in every sector. Let's see. What is it gonna be? P5, okay. Not bad, Sainz, not bad. And Albon does not improve, he stays in 18th. Looks like it's gonna be a tough race, and Piastri out in P17, wow. Alright, so we're one of the last cars on track. We only have Norris, I think it is. Yeah, Norris and Behrman behind us, yeah. And well, Behrman is gonna shave it very close, but we should have good track conditions. So let's see. can we get through SQ2? But Norris is surely going to improve, so should Leclerc. And where do we end up? Leclerc with a strong lap. Okay, P6, right behind Russell. We actually do manage to get ahead of Tsunoda in SQ2, so yeah, very good lap by Sainz. We're looking decent. All right, you can see here, not a lot of time on the clock. We're gonna try and send Sainz out for one more lap here. We'll have to see if we can make it to the line, actually. Yep, so I think we will just about make it to the line. Just about have enough time to squeeze in another lap. Obviously, these tires are gonna be used. 87%, but I've seen drivers improve their laps before on used tires, so we'll see what Carlos can do. Get past Charles Leclerc, that is the question. We need a 10th and a half or so to get past Leclerc. Sainz coming around the last corner. Looking for the grip down towards the line, and what will it be as time runs out in the session? DRS open. Oh, we beat Charles Leclerc, very nice, vamos. Just behind George Russell at P4 for the sprint quali for Carlos Sainz. Very nicely done. Alright guys, so as you can see here, qualifying results for the sprint race. Lando Norris puts us on pole by nearly half a second over Max Verstappen. Then comes George Russell, and surprisingly, we're right up there. Carlos Sainz, P4. Obviously, we have a very strong DRS system, so it could be a case of that we drop down a little bit throughout the race, but obviously we're going to try and hold on to this P4 as best as we can. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, both the Ferraris lining up behind. Then Yuki Tsunoda. Then comes Andrea Kimi Antonelli in 8th. Isaac Hadjar putting the Racing Bull in 9th. Fernando Alonso rounding out the top 10. Then comes Nico Hulkenberg in P11. Again, nice qualifying performance. Then Lance Stroll. Liam Lawson in the Racing Bull in 13th. Oliver Behrman then 14th. Jack Doohan 15th. Gabriel Bortoleto. Then Oscar Piastri with a very disappointing result in the sprint quali here. And then Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon. Let's get straight into it. All right. Here are the lights for the sprint race in Miami, and we're off. And it's a bad start for Alex Albon there, but Carlos Sainz seems to have a decent start. Can we slot him behind the Mercedes? Yes, we sure can. We seem to be on the harder compound here, though, with Sainz, so we're going to have to push a little bit harder here on this initial lap just to try and stick close to the cars in front. And we'll just obviously use the deployment. As you can see, the two Ferraris behind going side by side, and so is Tsunoda and Antonelli, I believe. But the main objective here now is to hold on to the back of the top 4. And then as the sprint race progresses, we should be able to make that tire advantage work. Still just about holding on to the top 4, but it's getting very close. We have that Ferrari of Hamilton now as well. Very close. See here, we're at around the second mark. Russell is now struggling a little bit. And again, we will just try and push and stick with the cars in front because we don't want to risk losing them. Just try and relax with everything here. We don't have DRS, but we are right onto the back of George Russell, so that's positives here. It's very good. We have Hamilton with us. Leclerc has dropped down now one position, and Albon still fighting with Ocon at the back, and then Piastri as well. So we will also let him calm down a little bit. There we go, down into Sector 1 now with Carlos Sainz. We're right onto the back of Russell and Verstappen and Norris. So we got a nice 5-car getaway here, and it seems like we're right in the mix. And Sainz is doing perfectly. Albon is really struggling at this point, but yeah, he's on very old parts. I think he only has an underfloor at this point since we had that double DNF in the last race. We just can't afford to give all the new parts to Albon. But again, that's not why we're here. We're looking at the man why we're here. Carlos Sainz still on the back of George Russell, and then Hamilton behind us. Leclerc still just outside that DRS range, but he might start working together here with Antonelli and Tsunoda. But podium is definitely a possibility here, I think. If Lewis Hamilton stops harassing us for a little bit so we can try and keep behind Russell and Verstappen. We are looking good. I am confident here with Carlos that we can hold on. Here we seem very much on the pace, and throughout the stint I think we're only getting faster now. Carlos's confidence is getting up. We're nearly up to the next level. I don't know what that is, but yeah, it would be nice to get that little boost, to get the Carlos's skills get a little boost, and that would really push us towards that podium here today. So I'm comfortable just holding for now, and then we'll look at an opportunity to get past George Russell perhaps. What I don't want happening is Sainz to be at the front of this train and then just having a whole train of DRS cars overtake us on the straightaway. That would be the worst case scenario. And Hamilton just keeps trying to move up the inside, but that turns to the outside, of course, so no way is holding on there. But Russell and Verstappen really in a massive squabble here. And then we have Lewis Hamilton here. He's now in the mix. He's trying to get through. But he's not going to manage. Well, maybe he's still sending it up the inside. And Sainz trying to push him wide. Obviously, kind of a rival as Hamilton now overtakes. I should have maybe put Sainz a bit more aggressive again. So let's do that. I don't think tire saving is going to get us anywhere anymore. Seems like. Again, we can deploy it a little bit here. I'm not sure if it's going to matter, but can try and be nice and close to Hamilton here as we enter that middle sector. So Albon now gets passed by Bortoleto as well. Can we try and move here anywhere? Oh, it doesn't seem that way. Ooh, to the outside of Lewis Hamilton now. Might pull this off. Ooh, and that's very nicely done by Sainz. So we'll just put ourselves on normal deployment again. Good to know that that is an overtaking spot, obviously, at the end of that straight. Ooh, seems like there was a crash somewhere. Leclerc and Tsunoda, safety car. Oh, that's going to end the race, isn't it? Oh, that's going to end the race. Leclerc here together with... Who is it going to be with? Big shunt from behind. Big shunt from behind, and that was... Let's see. Ferrari crew obviously distraught. That was Tsunoda again. Tsunoda crashing into Leclerc. So Tsunoda not having the best of debuts for Red Bull so far. Alright, so we come across the line here. The race ended under safety car. Oh, wow. What the hell? Sainz is doing a wiggle of celebration. Unfortunately, not able to get close to that podium because of the safety car, but it was a really good race for Sainz. P4. If that is anything to go by, the main race should be really good for us here. Alright guys, so the sprint race has come to an end. Lando Norris picking up a dominant win there, obviously ending behind the safety car. That's why all the gaps are so close. George Russell P2, Max Verstappen third. Carlos Sainz was looking like a podium was possible, but obviously towards the end with that safety car, that possibility disappeared. But still a really good race for Carlos. I mean, like I said before, if this is the pace for the main race, we're looking really strong here today. Lewis Hamilton not too far behind in 5th. Then Antonelli in 6th. Oscar Piastri able to make up 10 positions. So still scores 2 points here. Fernando Alonso in 8th. then Lance Stroll, Liam Lawson rounding out the top 10, Isaac Hadjar, then Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, Oliver Behrman, Jack Doohan, Gabriel Bortoleto, Alexander Albon, Charles Leclerc with a DNF together, got together with Yuki Tsunoda. So double DNF for Yuki last race and now this one. Yeah, with that being said, let's head into the main race qualifying. Alright, heading on to the last flying lap of Q3. On that you said we weren't too far behind Hamilton and Verstappen, but I think most likely they will still improve by quite a bit. I don't think Norris will be that far ahead. But mostly we're looking at Sainz here and seeing how he can improve. But it doesn't look like it. Let's hope we can beat at least Ocon, maybe Tsunoda. Verstappen also not improving, so in 7th place. Here comes Sainz and no improvement, so let's see. Tsunoda qualifying P5, so Verstappen having quite a bad run, and then Antonelli can still improve. He comes across the line. Antonelli in 5th, so very nicely done. Ocon in 10th position, but we weren't too far off. Alright guys, so the race starting grid will look like this. Lando Norris up into P1, Charles Leclerc P2, then Oscar Piastri, then Lewis Hamilton, Andrea Kimi Antonelli in 5th, George Russell in 6th, then Max Verstappen, then Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, Oliver Behrman, Lance Stroll, and then something strange happened here. Yuki Tsunoda dropping 6 spots. No clue why. Carlos Sainz also dropping 3 spots. And I have no clue what happened. I don't know why we got a grid penalty, but for some reason we're starting in 13th now, so our chances of a good finish are slimming down even more a little bit, which is disappointing. Isaac Hadjar 14th, Fernando Alonso 15th, Nico Hulkenberg 16th, then Alex Albon, Jack Doohan, Gabriel Bortoleto also with a three place grid penalty, and then Pierre Gasly. So we'll try to make the best of it. Let's see what happens. I wonder if it is because I changed the setup from after the sprint race to the quali. I know it's not supposed to do that, but obviously this game isn't perfect. So yeah, that might have to do something with it. I don't really know. I don't think there's any way I can see. So let's just get on with the race and see what we can salvage. Also, it is a rainy race, so anything can happen. Alright, and here come the red lights at a very wet Miami Grand Prix. Torrential rain. And here we go with Sainz and Albon. We've severely underfueled the cars just because we know in the rain we can, save a lot of fuel. So let's just try and see if we can get Sainz back up into a decent position. We are trying to look and see what the best strategy is going to be here, but it's such mixed weather. I think it seems like the middle stint is going to be an inter stint, but yeah, we will have to see if it dies down a little bit. It's very much on that edge of being an inters race. No one is on the inters though, so I'll kind of have to follow suit with the other drivers, I believe. Yeah, so far not looking too strong here in the opening lap. I hope this isn't gonna turn into a throwaway kind of race. Sainz's confidence has taken a little bit of a hit now with that poor qualifying session. Alright, so lap 3 now. We are somewhat back onto the back of Tsunoda, Stroll, and some of these cars ahead, but it's tough going here in the rain. Hard to overtake, of course, so we're gonna try and deploy here down the main straight. See if we can get some overspeed, but obviously the big problem is gonna be that Tsunoda is gonna have slipstream of the car ahead. So can we manage something? Can Sainz send it up the inside, perhaps? He does so, and can we get past Tsunoda up into P12? We sure do so. Okay, harvest again into turn 1. Straight onto the back of Lance Stroll. Oh, red flag, red flag. Big collision. Session suspended, so Antonelli and Verstappen getting together. Here we go. Helicopter view with Antonelli. What happens here? Antonelli spins into the barrier and actually collects... Well, Max Verstappen is still going, it seems like, but he will have to change the wing. But luckily for him, it's a red flag, since Antonelli was stranded in the middle of the circuit there. And let's see now. So conditions on restart still very wet. So it's just gonna be a new wet tire, I suppose. We have one extra one remaining, but we can still switch to an old one if we need to. Second start of the race. 5 red lights go on again after the red flag. Antonelli out of the race. And here goes Carlos Sainz once again. We saved a nice amount of fuel there, so we can push a little bit again. And let's try and get inside the top 10 here. So Noda on the attack straight away. Verstappen does have damage still. So I do wonder, is he still driving with a broken front wing? Oh yeah, he is. So Verstappen's still driving with a broken front wing. That's very curious. So did Red Bull not have any spare front wings that they could put on the car? That's very strange. So we'll see how that plays out. As Sainz up the inside now of Lance Stroll. What a move into this last sector. Can he make the difference here? Lance Stroll on the inside now. Oh, it's gonna be tricky. Come on, Sainz. Keep pushing. Yes, I know there is a replay, but he hasn't quite overtaken him. Turning to the inside now. Using a good amount of deployment. Can we get ahead of Stroll? Yes, we sure can. Nicely done, Sainz. Up into 10th now. And we'll just let Sainz chill out a little bit. Can we get a double move here done here on Behrman as well? Let's see. I think we do have to go aggressive again. Up on the inside goes Sainz. Doing very nicely in the rain here. As we get past Behrman as well. And straight onto the back of Esteban Ocon now. Oh, we're not quite close enough. Ocon seems to be closing the door on us. Can Sainz send it up the inside again like we've done on a couple of cars here? Yes, he does. Another perfect move. Very nicely done, Sainz. Gets it done before the corner ends. And onto the back of Lawson now. And we're just going to keep pushing here. Down that main straightaway. I do want to get past and then try to get past Verstappen as soon as possible because he's losing so much time. And, well, the strategy is going to be interesting. I think we'll just have to follow the other drivers in front of us into the pits if anything goes wrong. But it's still very much on the edge of wet tires, so no points changing over so far. And Sainz does get through now. P7. We're making minced meat here out of our competitors in the wet. And here goes Sainz now. Gonna harvest again into turn 1. And try and get onto the back of Max Verstappen. Alright, so we're on lap 11. Leclerc is in the lead. And as you can see here, top 5 still wet tire runners, but we're doing pretty bad on our tires. They're overheating quite severely, so we're gonna try and save them a little bit. But it's a bit of a tough call, seeing as the weather is quite unpredictable. We're looking at the radar, so there's gonna be some more heavy rain that comes in here, and then yeah, this may be a bit of an inters period here, but maybe we try to just stick it out on these wet tires and then pit somewhere halfway and go to another set of wets. I'm not quite too sure what we're gonna do yet, but let's see. All right, lap 13. The tires are getting wrecked here for Carlos Sainz, so I'm just gonna let him go on the standard. There is heavy rain coming in now, so I think this is the time where we are gonna go for another set of wets. I hope this period lasts long enough so we can make use of them and try and get an advantage on the inters again, but we're starting to lose a lot of time here, so... Oh, Sainz getting pushed wide by Lawson here, but that might have just been because I called him in. But here we go into the pits, Carlos Sainz. And what can the pit crew do? We're going to obviously go all the way to the back of this train. But we should be able to make up some good time on these fresh tires. And as you can see, the rain is coming down hard and fast now. So these inter runners are going to be struggling here in a lapse time or so. 2.7, very average pit stop, but again, we're just looking for no mistakes pretty much. And then let's see, as Sainz comes out, has a nice bit of clear air in front of him. Albon also quite far behind, but all right, kind of getting into the ideal situation here again for the wet tires. You can see the track has just changed. Rain is still coming down, so it's probably gonna get the track wetness is probably going to get a little bit higher here, and we're starting to make up tons of time on the cars in front now. They're losing speed. We can see Stroll and Doohan have now pitted also. And here's where we start and creating disadvantage. You can see as well the tires working nicely now, these wet tires. And onto the back of Gasly we come here. But I do think the leaders are going to be just a bit too far ahead of us, as we now see some cars coming in. Only Leclerc of the leaders, it seems like. Interesting. Here comes Sainz now, very nicely out of the little left-hander, heading onto the long straight at Miami here. Leclerc still in the pits. He's doing, yeah, he's probably onto something here, you know. Ferrari copying us at Atlassian Williams Racing. On to the back of the two Steak Saubers here. Just let's hope we can pass them both at the same time. Get a good run out of here. Use some deployment. Realistically, it shouldn't be an issue to get past. We should have superior grip here. Bortoleto obviously still on wet tires, but on very used wet tires. We force something around the outside. Oh, they're squabbling. This is losing us time, which is not ideal. And none of them pitting so far. Okay, sends it up the inside now, Carlos Sainz. Very nicely done. Assertive move. Once again, we're just trying to look for a way past Bortoleto and Hadjar here. We're going to deploy once again on the straight. Try and get a good run out of this corner here onto the straightaway. And Bortoleto again switching to the inside here. But see if we can force something around the outside here. Bortoleto sends it up the inside of Hadjar. Here we go now out of the last corner again. No deployment to speak of, so we'll just go full harvest mode. Again, we're just trying to make up time now. Again here, lining up a move on Behrman, who's very slow in front of us. Here comes Sainz, trying something, but can't quite get the power down. And again, trying maybe line up a move here into this big braking zone. 37 laps to go. Moves to the inside again, Sainz. Let's see. Should be an easy outbraking maneuver. There we go. No grip on those inters. And that's an easy move. Okay, so rain is decreasing now, interestingly. See how that affects our pace. Let's take another look. Very nicely done there. You can just see very easy for Sainz to outbrake Behrman at this point of the race. Nicely done. Now we try to make our way back up to Bortoleto and Sonoda in front. Question being, of course, will the track conditions stay wet, or are we gonna move into quite a long inters period now, which might be the case. Bortoleto comes in. Will be interesting to see what tires he goes on to, but he clears up the road quite nicely for us. So yeah, make it that what you will, but Tsunoda is dropping back quite a bit now, and we'll again deploy here on the straightaway, try to get past in one fell swoop. And the question being now, do we try and bridge this little gap of about... Seems like it's going to be about 8 laps or so of inters running. We'll see. But getting past Tsunoda now. Getting closer to Ocon and Lawson. Okay, big crash here, it seems like. So... Yuki Tsunoda crashing into the barrier, where same place where Antonelli crashed. So it's gonna be another DNF for Tsunoda. So 3 DNFs in a row, and that is not what Red Bull would have wanted, I'm sure. So yeah, heavy rain kind of defeats the purpose of us doing that undercut. But now, yeah, I guess it will be. We'll have to switch over to this used wet set of tires, but it means everyone in front of us is gonna get a free pit stop, which, yeah, not ideal, but at least the grid is bunched up again, so we have that to work with for our advantage. And obviously Tsunoda, big competitor behind us that we now don't have to worry about. Let's go slightly aggressive again. We can push with the fuel and the tires. Put the avoiding high-risk curb option off. Lost out a bit there to Stroll. That's not too big of an issue. All right, lap 39 now. Sainz is hunting down Lance Stroll for that P7. Again, like we said, it doesn't look like that top 6 is in reach right now. They've created too big of a gap. The big thing here is that it does seem that the track is gonna go dry here in a little bit, so we'll have a short stint of about 17 laps. So we do have to think about strategy here and what we want to do. So we're actually gonna start pushing on these tires a little bit. And we want to try and get this undercut done then on the cars ahead. Yeah, you can see that it's just clearing up towards the end here, which I didn't expect. I thought it was going to rain throughout the race. But obviously, a bit of changing conditions. And yeah, we've now changed to a damp track. Everyone is on the wet tires ahead though, so that shouldn't change too much. But yeah, I think we have to pull the trigger here. Russell is right behind us. Verstappen is getting closer. So yep, we're gonna pit Carlos for the soft tires. He'll have 15 laps to do, or do we put him on mediums? That is the question. Let's do mediums. Or do we do softs? Oh man, this is a hard call. Nah, we have to go aggressive, don't we? Even if we lose some time towards the end, we have to go for softs. A softer tire will be better on a damp track, hopefully. See, now we're catching up to a Racing Bull. Here we go into the pits, and Albon will be getting into the pits as well this lap. I tried to get him in 1 lap earlier, but I was just too late. Coming into a pit here. Let's hope for a good stop. It's gonna be sunny to the end now. So here's where the track, you can see now, it's really drying up, and sure, we're gonna struggle here a little bit, but let's hope it's only a lap or 2. Alright guys, so 5 laps to go. Unfortunately, the strategy call was the wrong one. I'm not sure if this is also a bug in the game, but the track here towards the end, it is sunny. There's no rain so far, but the track state, sometimes you get this where you get no data at the end of the race, and then the track state just kind of stays in this weird, like, static limbo, where just the wetness of the track doesn't change anymore. It dropped down to 125 and then just nothing moved, while obviously if the sun is out and cars are going around, it should be drying up. So yeah, I guess bit unlucky with the game just not working as intended, I guess. And well, it's gonna see both the Williams unfortunately end up in 17th and 18th. So very disappointing race. Well, very disappointing 2 races here for Williams, but you know, the first one bit unlucky with the DNFs, and this one I think is just again down to the game not really working as intended, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll fast forward to the end here, but nothing is gonna change in this regard. So I'll see you then. All right, guys. So we end up with a bit of a, I guess, a double disaster here. Round 5, and round 6. Yeah, that weather condition towards the end of the race really screwed us up, and sees us finish in 17th and 18th. Lando Norris gets a win. Oscar Piastri P2. Lewis Hamilton P3. Before the red flag, it looked like Charles Leclerc was maybe going to pick up the win, but that's out of the question. P5 goes to George Russell. Max Verstappen in 6th. Lance Stroll in 7th. And big story here, Bortoleto scoring 4 points for Kick Sauber. So really nicely done for Bortoleto. 9th place goes to Ollie Behrman. Pierre Gasly gaining 10 positions, started from 20th up inside the top 10 to score a point. Liam Lawson 11th. Nico Hulkenberg 4th. Jack Doohan 13th. Or what am I saying? Nico Hulkenberg down in 12th position, gaining 4 spots. 13th, Jack Doohan. Fernando Alonso 14th. Esteban Ocon, Isaac Hadjar. Then Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. Again, not much we could have done, I guess. In hindsight, I guess we should have switched to the inters towards the end or stayed on the wets. But yeah, there was nothing really showing us there that, you know, the track was going to stay the way it was. It was sunny after all, so I don't think we made any strategical kind of error there. It's just the game being kind of funky sometimes. What does that do for the Drivers' Championship, though? Oscar Piastri still leading with a very slim lead now to Lando Norris. So 107 for Oscar Piastri, then Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton in P3 now after a good showing. Max Verstappen dropping down 2 spots into 4th. Charles Leclerc in 5th. George Russell in 6th. Carlos Sainz in 7th. So you can see now we're still maintaining the gap to the drivers behind, but you can see these gaps are starting to get bigger now with the kind of misfortune we've had in these last 2 races, which could have been fairly decent point scoring occasions. You know, you can see now we've started losing the gap a little bit towards these top 5. We're not too far away from George Russell, still within 20 points. Let's hope towards the next races we can get closer again. Andrea Kimi and Antonelli picking up 3 points in 8th. Liam Lawson still in 9th. Lance Stroll in 10th position. Pierre Gasly 11th. Fernando Alonso 12th. Gabriel Bortoleto moving up 5 spots in the standings with that nice point scoring occasion here in Miami. Oliver Behrman, then Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Jack Doohan. Yuki Tsunoda still scoreless with Red Bull, even though he's been in fairly good positions. Isaac Hadjar in 19th, and then Alex Albon. Constructors, 212 points for McLaren, scoring 53 points over the weekend, so really nice weekend for them. Ferrari in 2nd, 180. Then Red Bull with a big gap, 112 points. Mercedes, Williams, we've lost a bit of ground to Aston Martin behind. Alpine scoring a point. Kick Sauber scoring 4, jumping over Haas. And then Haas in 9th and Racing Bulls down in 10th. So unfortunately not getting paid out. It looked like we were going to get a double payout this time around. Get a nice little monetary bonus. But yeah, that's just not going to happen now. And well, we're not looking too bad on the funds, but we really need some good finishes here in the next couple of races, because we can't sustain this misfortune throughout a season like this. So there we go, guys. That was it. The double disaster episode here. You know, doing very bad at Jeddah. So guys, that was it. The double disaster episode here. disaster in Jeddah with the double DNF, and then just completely wrong strategy at the end of a quirky race in Miami. Ends up with Sainz not getting any points. So we're gonna try and improve, and maybe I should think about having another talk in the office with Carlos Sainz for the next race. So I'll think about doing that. And well, anyway, if you've enjoyed the episode, even though we've had that misfortune, please give it a like, a thumbs up, and then also consider subscribing to make sure you see the next episode. Hit that bell icon to be notified to when the next episodes come out. I'm trying to do these now on a twice a week release. I'm gonna see if I can try and keep that up, because it does take quite a bit of time to get through the footage. But I'm trying to do a double episode for you guys each week, which I hope you guys like. And yeah, with that being said, let's try and recover at the next race, which will be Imola. We should have some new parts, I think, coming in, but we'll see that in the next episode. So if anything, I hope you've had a nice time here, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.